What's going on YouTube? In this video, we're going to go over the iPhone 15 lineup. So I have the 15 Pro Max here, and I have the 15 Plus. I'm going over this lineup because as of recording this video, we are reaching the end of the iPhone 15 Prime, I guess you'd say. This is August, and obviously every year Apple announces new iPhones every September, and this year is no different. So I'm basically going to do a final thoughts / review of the iPhone 15 lineup. So this is the 15 Plus here. And then this is the 15 Pro Max. So pretty much both editions of the phone. This is the most advanced iPhone to date. Of course, they're going to do that. And then this is just basically an introduction to the new lineup. So are these phones worth it about a year after their launch? And I could say yes, depending on where you're coming from. So if you're coming from an iPhone 14 or even the 13, if you're going to upgrade at this point, I recommend just getting the iPhone 15 Pro Max or Pro, because all of the features that are in this lineup are basically in these two phones here, the 15 Pro and Pro Max. This is where all the updates occurred. As you can see, the 15 Plus and even the base 15, which is a little smaller than this one, is basically an iPhone 14 but just slightly updated. The camera's got the change, of course, USB-C on the bottom here, and that's basically it. From the 14 line, it's basically those two things that changed. You have the camera system that's slightly improved and the USB-C port. Everything else is practically the same. You have the slider here, mute switch, volume buttons. There is no SIM slot anymore, but that's not really major. So this is the iPhone 15 Plus. As I mentioned, all of the changes occurred on the 15 Pro and Pro Max. Starting with the design. Of course, the design doesn't look much different, but they use a stronger, more stable material, I guess you'd say, which is titanium. It's lighter and is more durable. That doesn't really fix the screen or the back aspect of it, as these are still glass, so they will crack and scratch pretty easy. But overall, the design is the same as you would expect. It's just made of a different material. It feels lighter than the stainless steel version from the 14 and 13 line, but it is still as durable. You have 3 cameras here. The regular camera, ultra wide, telephoto. Those are pretty good. If you like to use the telephoto, definitely is more useful, as it's 5 times. So it can be definitely more capable if you're using, let's say, zoomed in or portraits. Of course, this USB-C port on this version of the phone is faster. It does support the USB 3 Gen 2, so I think it's 3.1 Gen 2 speeds, whereas this is still basically Lightning, just in a USB-C format. It's still 2.0, no data speeds increase or charging increase. You just get the connector type, which is the C type, to make it compatible with all your other cables. This one actually has the improvements, the speeds and such, because of course you can shoot better video formatting on here, which is ProRes and log and all that, which require the faster speeds. So all in all, as I mentioned, all the changes are on this phone, with dynamic island and everything being slightly improved. Of course, as time goes on, they're going to keep adding. It's definitely useful. I think I came to love it when I came from the 15 Pro. I'm sorry, the 13 Pro with the notch. I definitely enjoy the dynamic island better. Of course, you get the same on the 15 Plus here, but all in all, it's definitely an improvement from the notch. The major difference between the Plus and the Pro is the screen. Of course, this is an OLED screen, but it is not 120 hertz. It's still a 60 hertz panel here, which is rather interesting for the price. Whereas this is the full 120 hertz ProMotion. Everything just looks smooth, and you can definitely notice it in video and when you play games or anything, watch movies. So that's another improvement. You have the action button here, definitely useful. I've used the action button all the time for any action. I change it often, but right now I have it to a magnifier. I tend to change it often for whatever I need it for, but I think the action button is one of the big changes that they made that are actually positive. The mute switch is cool and all, but you can just do so much with this button, and I've come to love it, especially when people add things, or the shortcuts app can definitely take advantage of anything on here. Opening apps, doing tasks, automations, anything. It's perfect for that. So I think the action button really is something that I hope they keep expanding on, which I saw in iOS 18 they are going to, so that's a good thing. All in all, I think the 15 Pro and the Pro Max is the way to go if you are going to upgrade. If you're coming from a 14 or 13 even, just get the 15 Pro Max, because it's going to be the most bang for your buck. It's going to have the most features. It's going to be the closest to the newest thing from the 16. If you are coming from anything older than those two, the 13, 14, then you can save a little money on the 15 Plus or base 15 and get, faster speeds, better connection, the dynamic island here, better screen, and of course the USB-C port here. You get decent cameras, but it is essentially an iPhone 14. So if you want to save money, even more money come September when they announce the 16s, of course everything's going to go down, then get the 15. If you're getting it from, let's say, your mom or something, and they don't really care about specs, then get them the 15 and save the money. But I would definitely wait until September, let the announcements come, let the prices drop. There are going to be plenty of sales on these for free. Hell, you might even get 2 for free. But if you're getting this for someone that is not really interested in the tech stuff, like I am, for example, then get them the 15 and save yourself money. If you are interested in all the fancy features and the up-to-date stuff, the 15 Pro Max is where it's at. I would definitely wait, though. Like I said earlier, just wait, let the announcements come. It's going to get announced probably mid-September, the 16, and that's going to drop this phone down even more if it's not already on sale. And you can get a really good phone for cheaper, as I'm sure the 16 is not going to be much different, as we're getting to that point where these updates are pretty small. So if that's the case and you can wait, just wait for September. If you cannot wait and you need a phone now and you are going to spend the money, I would just get the 15 Pro Max or Pro to future-proof yourself and just basically take the most out of it. I'm pretty sure there are sales on it right now, so definitely do that. But that's my take on the iPhone 15 lineup. These phones have been definitely matured by now. All the bugs and issues that were first spotted when they came out are definitely fixed now. They added all the features that they promised from WWDC, or most of them, I should say. Developers are starting to catch up to, let's say, the dynamic island, for example. The action button is getting a little bit more features. And of course, when iOS 18 comes along, only this phone here will have Apple Intelligence support. So once again, if you're going to upgrade, just future-proof yourself now. Get this phone. It will help you in the long run when iOS 18 comes out. And basically, just get your bang for the buck type of deal. So that's my take on the 15 lineup. I hope this helped you in deciding on what phone to get. Both of them are good. Like I said, they're both matured. All the bugs have been ironed out. We're pretty late into iOS 17's life cycle. All the features have been added. All the bugs have been ironed out. It's pretty stable now. All the connection issues. So you don't have to worry about that. It's just depending on what you want or who you're getting it for will determine how much money you spend on each phone. But like I said, my recommendation, if you're going to get one, get the 15 Pro or Pro Max for future proofing, or save yourself money if you're getting it for, let's say, your mom or someone that just doesn't need all the One of the big things I like to talk about when it comes to smartphones, especially the iPhone, is the batteries. So if you remember last year, Apple released iPhone 14, and that phone was plagued with major battery problems. The degradation was insane. Basically, if you had the phone for the full year, you would have had to replace it because the battery degradation was within replacement age, which was around 80%. Most people I know had it and they took good care of it, but it still went to about 83%, which is insane for a phone that's under a year old. And I'm happy to report that Apple did fix that issue on both models, the 15 Pro and Pro Max. The iPhone 15 Pro Max has a really good battery life. It's an all-day phone. It does draw a lot of power because of the chipset in here. As I mentioned, the chip in the iPhone 14 is in this phone, but this one got an updated chipset. So it's a little bit more power draw because of all the features, the ProRes and everything. It needs it. But if you don't do anything crazy with it, like recording crazy video, 4K and all that, the battery is definitely really good. And as I mentioned, they ironed out all the bugs and problems that may have caused battery drain, like connection issues or overheating. I know that was a big one for this one. That's all been ironed out. So the batteries on both are really, really good now. That's a good thing for example, anyone that's using this phone, because if you have the 14, then that's not the case. And honestly, if you have the 14, I would just upgrade to the Pro Max if you want the tech stuff, or if you're getting it, let's say, for your mom or something, then get them the 15 Plus just to get rid of the battery problem that plagued the 14 for so long. The degradation's insane, and it's just going to cost you money to replace it. So I would definitely upgrade on that part too for the battery. They fixed it in these two phones, the 15 lineup. Either one's good, but if you want the best battery period, the bigger phones will do you justice. They're all-day phones, so you can basically go without having to worry about charging it. So that's my take on the battery, at least. So I hope this helped you out. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll do my best to answer them. And we'll find out what happens in September when they do the announcement. Of course, I'll do my best to cover that and get my hands on at least one of the phones. I don't expect much in terms of the updates, as these updates are getting pretty small now. It's all going to be in the software, and as I mentioned, the iPhone 15 Pro series and the Pro Max are going to get basically everything. If I remember correctly, this phone will get iOS 18, but it won't get the Apple Intelligence stuff. It will just get, the customizations and stuff. So that's my take on that. I hope this helped you out. If it did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them in the comments below. So this is my final take on the 15. Let's see what Apple does in September, and I will catch you on that video sometime, hopefully in the early week of September or mid-September. And we'll get going with the 16 lineup and see what happens then. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.